In the year 2278, humanity found a mirror to its past and perhaps to its future. The Living Memory Project, led by a coalition of visionary scientists, promised to unlock the hidden secrets of human DNA. Using advanced neural technology, it became possible to access and relive ancestral memories embedded within genes. The past is within each of us, declared Dr. Cale Renner, the project leader. The goal was ambitious: to fill in the gaps of human history and understand how we got here. But in the silence of the underground lab, far from the spotlight, the first test revealed something no one could have imagined. The volunteer was Eli Marson, a man without a past and without a future. After losing his family during Earth's environmental collapse, he had become a disillusioned history professor, trying to understand the mistakes that led to the planet's downfall. "Maybe this will help me find meaning," he said before connecting to the device. When the living memory was activated, what started as glimpses of a medieval battle soon transformed into the impossible. Visions of floating machines, gleaming cities in the sky, and a war with forces that were not human. Eli awoke gasping, as if he had lived through it all. "This isn't just history," he said, his eyes wide with shock. "It's something that was never meant to be forgotten." The team entered crisis mode. Dr. Lyra Shin, a bioinformatics specialist, tried to rationalize the occurrence. "It could be a data overlap," she suggested. "Maybe the device accessed incorrect information," but Eli was convinced that what he had seen was real. "I felt it," he insisted. "I was that person." Dr. Renner began to suspect that the living memory had unlocked something far greater than human memories. "What if this isn't just about our past?" he asked. "What if we're accessing memories that don't belong solely to humanity?" The anomalies continued to intensify. In subsequent sessions, Eli saw more fragments of the lost civilization. Floating cities powered by crystalline energy, sentient machines, and a desperate war against a threat known as the consumers. These creatures, which consumed entire planets, were not just destroyers. They were parasites that drained the vital energy of worlds. "They weren't just fighting for survival," Eli said. "They were fighting for something much greater." But why were these memories appearing now? And what did they want Eli to do? The most disturbing revelation came from Eli's own genes. Lyra discovered that his DNA contained an anomalous pattern, something that had never been recorded in another human. "It's as if information was encoded into your genetics," she explained. "A hidden database." Eli began to understand that he wasn't just a volunteer. He was the vessel for a legacy, a warning left behind by a civilization that vanished millennia ago. When he connected to the living memory one final time, he heard a clear message in his mind. "The cycle is closing. You are our last hope." Eli began to realize that the memories were not just visions. They were complete experiences. During each session, he felt the pain, fear, and determination of the people of Arenthal, a civilization that, according to the memories, had reached the pinnacle of technology before falling to the consumers. In one of the most intense sessions, he witnessed the construction of a floating city called Lumina, a bastion of hope in the midst of a devastated planet. "They believed they could win," Eli said as he described the event. "But they were always one step behind." Dr. Renner, monitoring the data, began to suspect something. What if these memories aren't just stories? What if they're instructions left for us? The emotional impact began to deeply affect Eli. Each time he relived the memories, it felt as though he was losing a part of himself. "I don't know where I end, and they begin anymore," he confessed to Dr. Lyra Shin. Lyra tried to reassure him. "You're the bridge between two worlds, Eli. But you're still you." However, the memories were so vivid that Eli began to experience flashes even outside the living memory sessions. He dreamed of battles, whispers of voices, and the sound of cities being destroyed. "They're trying to tell me something," he said, increasingly convinced there was a purpose behind it all. The technology began exhibiting unexpected behavior. The living memory, once a passive device, started emitting patterns of light and sound without being activated. Lyra noticed that these patterns seemed to respond to Eli's emotions. "It's as if he's directly connected to the system," she said, intrigued. Renner, on the other hand, saw this as a risk. "We're playing with forces we don't understand," he warned. If this gets out of control, it could be the end of everything. Eli, however, insisted on continuing. If they chose me, there must be a reason. We can't stop now. The memories began to reveal the enemy in detail. During a particularly intense session, Eli saw the consumers for the first time. They were a parasitic life form, composed of organic matter and pure energy, capable of assimilating any resource to expand. But the most terrifying detail was their origin. They weren't from any specific planet or system. They were the result of a failed experiment by an ancient civilization, predating even Arenthal. They're a mistake, Eli explained. Something that should never have existed but now cannot be stopped. The team discovered a hidden pattern in the data. While analyzing session records, Lyra found a recurring sequence that appeared to be a code. "This isn't random," she said, showing the pattern to Renner. "It's like they're trying to give us instructions." Deciphering part of the code, they found it corresponded to blueprints for advanced technology, something that appeared to be a weapon or defense system. Renner was fascinated. "This is what we need to protect ourselves," he said, already planning how to build the device. But Eli was more cautious. What if this weapon is the reason they failed? What if we're repeating the same mistakes? Eli experienced his most disturbing vision yet. During a session, he saw Arenthal in its final moments, leading a last-ditch effort to stop the consumers. The city of Lumina was in ruins, and the commander, with weary eyes, gave a speech to the survivors. "If we fail, let our mistakes serve as a warning to those who come after us." Eli awoke from the dream with an unsettling certainty. They knew they couldn't win. Everything they did was to prepare us for this moment. Tension among the team grew as the mystery deepened. Renner wanted to activate the system based on the blueprints without hesitation, believing it was their best chance of defense. Lyra, however, was concerned about the risks of using incomplete technology. "What if this destroys us before it destroys the consumers?" she asked. Eli, caught between the two perspectives, began to realize that their choice wouldn't just be about winning or losing, it would be about what it meant to be human. "If we sacrifice everything we are to survive, what will be left of us?" he said. But with the consumers drawing ever closer, the time for debate was running out. Eli's memories began to reveal dark secrets about Arenthal. During one session, he witnessed a crucial moment. The civilization scientists debating the creation of a weapon to stop the consumers. They called it the Final Rupture, a device designed to sever connections between realities, isolating the consumers forever. However, the cost was devastating. It would destroy Arenthal itself and any civilization connected to it. They were desperate, Eli said as he described the vision. It was a choice between saving the universe or destroying themselves. This revelation further divided the team. Lyra began questioning the ethics of the ancient civilization. If they were willing to destroy everything to win, how can we trust them? She asked while analyzing the Final Rupture's blueprints. Renner, on the other hand, was convinced that following Arenthal's steps was the only option. They did what they needed to protect the future, he argued. If we don't have the courage to do the same, we're doomed. Eli, caught in the middle of the conflict, started to realize the choice wasn't so simple. They knew they were wrong, he said, but they had no other choice. Maybe we do. A new pattern emerged in Eli's genetic codes. While analyzing the data, Lyra found something surprising. A sequence that appeared to be a direct message for him. "They were talking to you," she said, showing Eli the discovery. The message read, "The answer lies in what was lost. Look beyond the memories." Renner, intrigued, suggested that there might be more to the alien ship than they had realized. "If the answer isn't in the memories, maybe it's in something they left behind," he said. The team decided to delve deeper into the origin of the information. The alien ship began to emit inexplicable signals. The systems detected a series of energy pulses emanating from the structure, resembling the patterns in Eli's memories. "It's like the ship is activating," Renner explained while monitoring the data. Eli felt a strange connection to the signals, as if they were meant for him. "They're calling me," he said with a certainty that alarmed Lyra. "This could be a trap," she argued. "Or it could be the answer we need," Eli replied, determined to uncover the truth. The team discovered the ship's true purpose. By deciphering the signals, they realized the ship was a living database, designed to store the knowledge of Arenthal's civilization. It's a time capsule, Lyra explained as they explored the data. But there was more, a locked section protected by a genetic password. Only you can unlock this, Lyra told Eli. When he connected to the ship, he was immediately overwhelmed by a new vision. The moment Arenthal decided to activate the final rupture. They didn't want to do it, Eli said, tears streaming down his face. But they didn't have time to find another solution. Tensions among the team reached their peak. Rena wanted to use the ship's information to immediately recreate the final rupture, while Lyra believed they needed to find an alternative. If we blindly follow their steps, we're repeating the same mistakes, she argued. But if we don't act, we'll be destroyed, Renner countered. Eli knew both were right, but he also knew there had to be another way. The ship holds more information, he said. If we can decipher it, maybe we can find a solution they didn't have time to discover. Eli accessed the ship's oldest memory and uncovered the truth about the consumers. They weren't just parasites. They were a consequence of Arenthal's own technology. They created the consumers, Eli revealed as he relived the memory. They were an attempt to create a self-sustaining life form, but something went wrong. This revelation changed everything. If they created them, maybe we can destroy them without destroying ourselves, Lyra said with renewed hope. But time was running out. The ship's signals indicated the consumers were nearing Earth. We need to act now, Renner said. But how? Eli began to feel the weight of the memories as a second consciousness within him. Each new vision of Arenthal felt more real, more intense, until he could no longer distinguish where his own identity ended and that of the lost civilization's commander began. During one session, he saw himself in Arenthal's war council, debating the use of the final rupture with their scientists. If we activate this, we'll be destroying everything we are, said one counselor. But if we don't, there will be nothing left to protect. Eli woke from the vision in a state of disorientation, repeating the words of Arenthal. Lyra watched him with concern. You can't carry all of this alone, she said. But there's no one else who can, Eli replied. The alien ship revealed one final barrier. After accessing more data, Lyra discovered a central core within the ship, protected by a system that only Eli could unlock. They entrusted everything to you, she said, adjusting the systems to prepare for the connection. Renner, impatient, pushed for the activation of the final rupture. We're wasting time, he said. Every second we spend on these mysteries brings us closer to the end. Eli, however, felt that the answer was there, hidden within the ship. If they had time, they would have found another solution, he insisted. We have to trust they left us a way out. The team began to face the emotional consequences of the conflict. Lyra, always the voice of reason, started to question her own faith in Eli's plan. What if he's wrong? She asked Renner privately. What if all of this is just an echo of the past, leading us to the same disaster? Renner, though critical of Eli, demonstrated a cold pragmatism. If he fails, we activate the final rupture. We won't have any other choice. Meanwhile, Eli faced his own doubts, torn between the memories guiding him and his intuition that there had to be a better path. What does it mean to trust myself when I don't even know who I am anymore? He thought. Eli accessed Arenthal's final memory. Within the ship's core, a final vision was revealed. The moment Arenthal activated the final rupture, he was alone, surrounded by the ruins of his civilization, as the consumers devoured everything around him. Before activating the device, he left a message recorded in the ship's core. If you're seeing this, it means our sacrifice wasn't in vain. We failed to protect our world, but you have the chance to protect yours. Find the solution we didn't have time to discover. Eli awoke with tears in his eyes. He knew it wasn't the end, he said. But they couldn't finish what they started. The ship began to reconfigure itself in response to Eli's presence. Panels shifted, lights pulsed, and a new room was revealed, containing what appeared to be a prototype of an advanced weapon or device. Lyra quickly analyzed the data. This isn't the final rupture, she said. It's something different, something that seems to confine the consumers to a single reality. Renner was skeptical. This is a gamble. We don't know if it will work. But Eli felt that this was what Arenthal wanted them to find. It's our only chance to avoid their fate. The device required a personal sacrifice. Lyra discovered that to activate the system, a neural link with the ship was needed, a direct connection that would transfer the operator's consciousness into the device. That's why they couldn't finish it, she explained. They weren't willing to sacrifice one of their own. Renner saw this as confirmation that the final rupture was still the best option. We can't ask this of anyone, he said. But Eli was resolute. They entrusted this to me for a reason. If this is the price to save the future, I'm willing to pay it. The final decision loomed. With the consumers drawing ever closer to Earth, the team knew they didn't have much time. Lyra worked frantically to prepare the device, while Renner kept the final rupture as a contingency plan. Eli, reflecting on everything he had learned, felt more connected than ever to Arenthal's legacy. They gave us a chance to be better, he said. And I won't waste it. As the ship began to generate energy for the device, Eli knew his choice would define the fate not just of Earth, but of all connected realities. The device began to activate, pulsating with an energy that filled the ship. Lights around the core flickered as Arenthal's advanced prototype prepared for its purpose. Lyra monitored the data with trembling hands, her eyes fixed on the readings. It's working, she whispered. Renner, however, remained unconvinced. This is unstable. If we fail, there won't be a second chance. Eli, standing before the central console, felt the weight of his choices. Arenthal's words echoed in his mind. Whatever it takes, do better than we did. The tension among the team finally erupted. Renner, impatient with the risks, tried to interrupt the device's activation. We can't trust an incomplete plan, he said, stepping toward the panel to shut it down. Lyra intercepted him, her voice filled with anger and desperation. If we shut it down now, we'll condemn everything Arenthal sacrificed. Don't you see? They gave us this chance because they believed someone could finish what they started. Eli, realizing the two were at a dangerous impasse, raised his voice. Enough! This isn't about us. It's about everyone who came before and everyone who's yet to come. Eli made the final decision. He knew that activating the device meant giving up his own consciousness. Lyra tried to reason with him. There has to be another way. We can't lose you like this. But Eli, with calm resolve, replied, I carry the memories of a civilization that gave everything they had to give us this chance. I won't fail them. Renner stood silently, his expression hardened but tinged with respect. If you're going to do it quickly. We're out of time. The alien ship began to react to Eli's choice. When he placed his hands on the console, a neural connection was established instantly, and a wave of energy surged through his body. He felt intense pain, followed by a flood of information. Every memory of Arenthal, every decision made, every sacrifice endured. They're with me, he said, his voice breaking. Lyra watched, tears streaming down her face. You don't have to do this alone, she said. But Eli knew he was the only one who could complete the cycle. The device revealed its true nature. With the activation complete, a holographic projection displayed the structure of the interconnected universe, a web of realities linked by threads of energy that the consumers were slowly destroying. The device would not only isolate the consumers in a single reality, but also restore the connections between worlds that had been corrupted. It's more than just a weapon, Eli said as his voice began to fade. It's a rebirth. Lyra and Renner stood in silence, finally grasping the magnitude of what was happening. The consumers began their final approach. The ship's sensors detected a massive energy force moving rapidly toward Earth. Renner stared at the monitors in despair. If this doesn't work, we're finished. Lyra, her heart heavy, watched Eli, who seemed increasingly disconnected from himself. We're so close, she said, her voice breaking. Please hold on. Eli, now fully immersed in Arenthal's memories, whispered his last words as himself. We are not the end. We are the beginning. The device was activated at the exact moment. A burst of light and energy radiated from the ship, sweeping through space and striking the consumers. The impact was devastating but precise. The creatures were confined to a single reality, unable to escape. At the same time, the released energy began to restore the connections between worlds, just as Arenthal had intended. Lyra and Renner, watching the phenomenon, felt both relief and sorrow. Eli had fulfilled his mission, but at the cost of his own identity. He did what no one else could, Renner said, finally acknowledging Eli's sacrifice. Lyra, gazing at the light now filling the ship, simply whispered, "Thank you." The activation of the device triggered an unexpected reaction in space. The energy released by the alien ship not only confined the consumers, but also generated a high-intensity pulse that swept through the solar system, disrupting communications and satellite systems on Earth. "It's as if the universe is readjusting," Lyra said as she worked to stabilize the ship's instruments. Renner, observing the data, noticed something alarming. The device didn't just block the consumers, it altered the connections between realities. This could have implications we're only beginning to understand. The consumers, now confined, still posed a danger. Renner, ever the pragmatist, pointed out, just because they're trapped doesn't mean they're destroyed. They may be confined, but if they find a way to escape, we'll be right back where we started. Lyra, however, saw hope in the changes occurring on Earth. What matters is that now we have a chance to rebuild, to learn from what happened, but both knew that the information left by Arenthal and Eli's sacrifice was just the beginning. There was still so much more to uncover. Lyra discovered one final fragment of memory left by Eli. On the ship's console, a recording of Eli was recovered, as if it had been encoded in his final moments of consciousness. If you're hearing this, it means the device worked. But I want you to know that this isn't just about ending the consumers. It's about what we can become if we choose to be better. Don't let fear define our choices. Remember Arenthal, remember us, and do better. Lyra was moved as she listened to his words, while Renner, though silent, appeared deeply affected. The ship began to enter a state of hibernation. Having fulfilled its purpose, the alien ship started shutting down its active systems, as if acknowledging its mission was complete. "It's like a guardian that can finally rest," Lyra said as she watched the ship's lights dim gradually. "But there's still so much we don't understand," Renner added, referring to the ship's stored data. "We need to study all of this. What Arenthal started could take us beyond anything we've ever imagined." Humanity received an unexpected gift. The energy released by the device seemed to trigger regeneration on Earth. Oceans once polluted showed signs of purification. Devastated forests began to regenerate slowly, and the atmosphere, once toxic, now displayed readings indicating a return to habitability. "It's like Earth is waking up from a deep sleep," Lyra said, her voice filled with emotion. Renner, though skeptical, acknowledged that something extraordinary had occurred. "This could be the start of something new," he admitted. But Lyra knew the real challenge would be teaching humanity to value this second chance. The message of Arenthal echoed in the hearts of the team. Eli's memories, now recorded within the ship and its logs, became a constant reminder of everything that had been sacrificed for them to have this opportunity. Lyra decided that the story of Arenthal and the consumers needed to be preserved. "What they did cannot be forgotten," she said. "If we don't learn from it, we're doomed to repeat the same mistakes." Renner agreed but offered a warning. "We need to be careful about what we reveal. The world isn't ready for the whole truth." The team returned to the station, but nothing was the same. Eli's sacrifice had changed not only Earth's destiny but also theirs. Lyra, now more determined than ever, began organizing the ship's data for future research. Renner, despite his pragmatism, seemed to have found a newfound respect for the history and legacy left to them. "He showed us that we're capable of more than we imagined," Renner said. "Now we have to prove he was right." As the station orbited the reborn Earth, they both knew the future was still uncertain. But for the first time in centuries, there was hope. Eli's sacrifice became a symbol of rebirth. Though his consciousness had merged with the device, his presence was felt in every change happening on the planet. Earth's readings showed a slow but steady renewal. Oceans were bluer, skies clearer, and once barren regions began to show signs of plant life. He gave us a second chance, Lyra said, watching images of the surface. Now it's up to us to make it count. Renner, ever the pragmatist, replied, a second chance means nothing if we don't learn from our mistakes. The alien ship became a silent yet powerful monument. Suspended in orbit, its now dormant structure resembled a piece of art, a tangible reminder of the sacrifice of Arenthal, Eli, and so many others who came before. Lyra spent weeks organizing the data stored within the ship, while Renner led efforts to secure access to the structure. We need to ensure no one abuses what's in here, he said. Lyra, however, saw something more in the ship. This isn't just technology. It's a message for the future, that we're capable of overcoming even the impossible. The future of humanity was uncertain, but it glimmered with new possibilities. Earth's governments began receiving reports of planetary regeneration, though the events leading to it remained a closely guarded secret by Lyra and Renner. They're not ready to know about the consumers or Arenthal, Renner explained. But one day they'll need to, Lyra agreed, knowing that revealing the truth would be a delicate act of balance. When the time comes, they need to be ready to honor the sacrifice, not repeat the same mistakes. Eli lived on through the legacy he left behind. Though his consciousness was lost to the device, he remained alive in the memories recorded and in the changes his sacrifice brought. Lyra discovered one final recording he had left before his final connection. Whatever the future holds, remember that we're not defined by what we destroy, but by what we choose to build. Don't let fear dictate what we become. Be better than we were. His words echoed in Lyra's mind, and she vowed to make it her mission to preserve Eli and Arenthal's legacy. The universe felt different, as if it had adjusted. As the station orbited the reborn Earth, Lyra and Renner watched the stars in silence, knowing they had been part of something much greater than themselves. Lyra, her eyes fixed on the distant glow of the stars, murmured, "The cycle is broken, but what comes next is in our hands." Renner, ever practical, replied, "What comes next will be only as good as we make it." Both knew the battle against the consumers was over, but the real challenge, rebuilding humanity, was only beginning.